All right, hard fought weekend for sure at Ohio State. Team is playing really good hockey. I thought, Friday we did a lot of good things, but probably not enough to win this time of the year. And I thought they did a heck of a job. I think they had 25 block shots and really paid a price to win the game. And I thought we did a really good job on Saturday, getting to our game early. We didn't give up a ton and did a better job of getting to the inside. And so that's how it is this time of the year. It's hard to win hockey games in our conference. It's super competitive and no different this weekend, playing a really good Michigan team that's got a ton of talent, and obviously the second game of the series with them, and looking forward to it.
And was there anything you learned about them that first series that maybe you didn't know the first time going in that you can apply to this weekend?
No, I mean, I think they're really talented, right? And I thought they did a good job making it hard to get to their net the first night, and they're very dangerous on the power play, right? And you look how they scored in our first two games. They've been able to capitalize on the power play, so we got to make sure we're disciplined, and then if we are on the kill, we got to be sharp.
I think we talked about this before the first series, but when you have these two series so close together, how does that affect the way you're able to prep for a team like Michigan?
Yeah, I just think just with our conference, right? We have only 7 teams, so the way the schedule flows, there's occasions where you place teams pretty close together. So obviously we just played them, and yeah, so that they're familiar with us and we're familiar with them for sure.
Obviously, I know you guys adopt a mentality where you attack each weekend with the same mentality, but this is one of the biggest rivalries in all of college sports. So how do you think that kind of affects it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's our goal, is regardless of who we're playing, right? We want to make sure they see our best and we play our best, and try to get better throughout the year. I think we've done that as a team, and that's no different going this weekend. Obviously, it's a rivalry game and it's a special one, and our guys, are excited about playing to it. But at the end of the day, we got to focus on things we can control, and that's not our opponent, right? It's how we play the game, and making sure right off the bat we're ready to go.
Kind of the flip side, having a shorter week last week. Did you change anything when you get back early Saturday as far as the schedule and how you go through things?
We actually gave them Saturday. Just told the guys our guys want to be at the rink all the time, and I think there's a time where you got to say, hey, no one at the rink on Saturday, so they get some rest and get caught up on schoolwork, and then Sunday did a recovery day to make sure we could be ready to have a great day on Monday.
Do you have to check key card or login stuff and make sure nobody actually did come in, or you padlock the doors?
No, we trust our guys, and I think that's part of it too, right? Is we try to treat them like pros, right? And so we're not over their shoulder and doing curfew calls and all these things. This is their deal, but when we step in like that, I think the guys respect it, and I think at the time, right, we've played a lot of hockey here after Christmas break, so it was good for them to get a little break, get caught up again, and get caught up in school, caught up on rest, and be a normal college student, and then ready to go on Monday.
You guys have obviously had big crowds, throughout this whole season, but does anything stand out about the last game at home against Michigan that just stands out with the crowd and atmosphere?
Yeah, I mean, they've been great all year. It's been pretty cool to see it. Even the Munsters. I mean, they're camping out. They're here early in the morning, and you see tents out there, and they're rocking, and you get the juice going in the building. And I think for sure when you play a rivalry game, there's a different feel in the building. You could feel the energy, and I'm sure it'll be the same on Friday.
I should have followed up on this a few weeks ago when you talked about this, but when you mentioned Trey committing to your program when you guys were kind of on the lull and we're trying to build the vision you've built now, I'm curious how important he's been to building on the success of this program and what comes in the future.
Huge. I mean, I think you look at his pedigree and where we were at, right? He could have went anywhere he wanted in the country, and he decided he wanted to be part of Michigan State, and I think it's been a great fit both ways, right? I think his personality is that of a Spartan. He's a team guy, he's a humble guy, he's a hardworking guy, doesn't like attention, and so that was kind of the first domino to fall for us recruiting, right? That was like, holy cow, this is, and he's a very well respected, not only in the United States but all across the world as a hockey player. And I think he's brought his preparation and his calmness, he's got pure confidence. It's not a fake one. He finds that great balance between being humble and being confident, and I think all those pieces have really impacted our team, and that helps you get the next one, right? And I think you look at our tradition of goaltending here at Michigan State. I mean, you think of the names that have been here. We put it up against anyone's in the country, and Trey adds to that list for sure.
Coach all season kind of talked about the response of this team. Even if they go down one night, they'll come right back the next night. looking back at this Ohio State series, just what did you really see in the team's response? I know last week we talked a lot about you still looking for them to play off the puck a little bit more, how you saw that, if they might have improved on that on Saturday.
Yeah, I thought we were sharper Saturday. Again, I think on Friday, Thursday, we had I think we had 92 shot attempts, right? So we had the puck in, but we didn't do a good enough job getting pucks through. Obviously, credit to them for making it hard, and they definitely committed to it, and that's what this time of the year is about, right? You got to pay a price, but I think there was times where we played a little bit slow with it, and we want to play the game direct and we want to play the game fast, and there's a fine line, and you can't be chucking it around either. So. Yeah, this group's done a great job responding, right? And I think that's credit to our leadership group. We got some guys that have been here with us for the 2.5 years and understand that it's always about your next game, your next shift, and learn from the past. It doesn't mean the mistakes are okay, but you got to learn and grow from them, right? So I think this group has really embraced that, and we're going to need that down the stretch.
Coach, there's going to be countless of Metro Detroit hockey organizations will be there watching you guys on Saturday. Just how important is this game and the rivalry as a whole for getting more kids excited about college hockey, and also for your program of wanting young kids to come and want to play for Michigan State one day?
No, you're right. I mean, I think that at the end of the day, we're in the business to try to win hockey games, right? And I think that obviously it's a big weekend for that. But I also think though is you want to have a track record of helping your guys improve and a track record of the team improving, and we feel like we've done that. And I think with recruiting, it's try to be as honest as we can with the kids and the recruits that come in, and it's a fit for some families and it's not a fit for some others, and we just got to make sure we get the right kids and the right families, and so far I give a ton of credit to our staff. I think that's really important. It's not just about acquiring the best players, it's acquiring the best families, the best people that truly understand what it means to be a Spartan, and hopefully when we play and you watch our team play, you see us play like a team, and families or players recognize it and say, hey, I want to be a part of that.
Kind of going back.
No, go ahead.
Going back to Trey for a second, what do you think it is, or do you think him wanting to develop himself was a big part of his choice to come here, knowing that what you guys bring with that as a coaching staff?
Yeah, I think he's a smart guy, right? So he made his decision. Sometimes young hockey players they just follow the crowd, right? And he saw what this place could be. He grew up obviously in the state. I had coached him, right? So there's a relationship there, and I coached him long before I got this job. So he knew exactly who I was, and when we recruited him, I said that to Trey. This was never a recruiting pitch. Either you like it and you want to come, or you don't, and that's fine too. And I think adding Jared DeMichael's track record with goaltenders. You look back at UMass of even some of the guys that weren't necessarily draft picks that ended up going on to sign NHL contracts and playing the NHL. So he's got a pedigree of developing goaltenders. But I think at the end of the day, Trey just felt really comfortable, and I think his personality and who he is as a person really matched well with Michigan State.
You see a young team, is there any appreciation for how one-sided this rivalry was not too long ago, and how you guys have been able to flip it back just in the last year, really?
Yeah, I think that's always, if you look at any rivalry, there's stretches where one team's better than the others, and maybe there's a run and it goes the other way, and then when it's really fun is when both teams are competitive, right? And we obviously had to do some work to get to that point, and ton of respect for them and their history of their program, and I think that's how rivalries go. And the cool thing is, no matter what what's going on in the standings or rankings or all that different stuff, and these games they're fun, they're intense, and that's what you want for your group, right? To expose them to as much of these different environments, so when you get to the end of the year, you're really ready. And that's why I really believe. When you look at college hockey or college athletics, programs that have great rivalries, if you look at it the right way, it forces you to be better, right? And so we obviously needed to be better, and so it's a blessing to be a part of it. I think it's a big reason, why kids want to come here, right, to be a part of it, and a driving force to keep us to keep improving.
Coach, we talked about this with Nick a little bit earlier, just talking about how Trey is someone who just won't let his emotions get the better of him. No matter whether a goal goes in, he saves a goal, has a great game, has a bad game, his emotions stay the same. He doesn't really let it bother him too much. Same with Nick, he's a very calm player on the blue line, and just having players like that, a lot of this team, they try not to let their emotions get the better of them, and in a rivalry series, a home game and a game at the Duel and that can just get so heated. What does that mean to you as a coaching staff to have players like this who will always stay calm whether they're facing adversity or ahead?
Yeah, it's a great quality, right? I think that again, I think we've talked about before. You have to play the game with emotion. This is an emotional game, but you can't let the emotions control you, right? And we're all human, right? And if you lose control of your emotions, you're gonna make poor decisions, whether it's taking a penalty or missing an assignment on the ice and focusing on things that you can't control. And so our guys, again, it starts with our leadership group. You mentioned, Nick and Trey and, Bazzi and Carson, all these guys that are even keel. And I can tell you, all those guys have a huge fire and competitiveness, right? So that never confuse, running around or running your mouth with competitiveness, right? It's what happens between the whistles, and I think we got a group of guys that do that.
Speaking of keeping their emotions, I gotta ask if the last game that was a challenge for the guys when you had a couple guys in your top line take cheap shots for Michigan players, one coming off the bench, a clothesline, and one Stramel, blindsided from several feet away from the puck. Was that a test for their ability to stay even keel, and were you pleased with the way your players responded to that?
Yeah, I thought our guys did a good job, and that's going to happen in hockey, right? I've been around the sport a while, and emotions, and especially at the end of a game, and one team, it's not going the way that one team wanted, and that happens, right? Doesn't mean that it's okay, but that's, our guys have been in games like that where that's, growing up. There's different scenarios that happen, but you got to control yourself. You also got to stick up for yourself too, right? I do believe that, and I thought Geertz did a great job of getting his nose in there, and it's having your teammates back too, so finding that balance, right? So we got to make sure, obviously, that's in the past, and now we're focused on being ready to go and controlling our emotions and playing between the whistles come Friday.
Coach, what were your emotions like as a player going into this game during your time here?
Well, I was terrible at controlling my emotions, to be honest with you. So I took a lot of bad penalties, and I think for me, I was probably immature, but just I was competitive, and so the juices get flowing and the wires cross, and all of a sudden you do something, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that, and I can't believe I did that again. But thankfully I had coaches that held me accountable, right? And there was definitely times where I had to come out of the lineup or miss some shifts for doing stupid stuff. And I think that's helped me as a coach, connect with guys that are wired that way, right? And because we want guys that are competitive, right? And I think that's the number one quality we look for in players. And so you never want to take that away from a player, but also understanding that it's easy on tape or it's easy from the bench saying to calm down. When you're out there and you're in the heat of the battle, it's tough, So yeah, I mean, I think like I said, I probably didn't do a great job of it, but I think it's helped me be a better coach.
You sort of hinted at it, but I was reading earlier about Buffalo Sabres. I think it was Tage Thompson took a cheap shot and no one stuck up for him. Obviously, you want your players to stick up for each other, but where do you draw that line, and is that line something that's drawn by you or the players themselves?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just situational, right? I just think you can see the instinct of your team, right? If something happens, then they're there, and we're not looking to like every single time something happens, right? There's some that are clean plays, some that aren't, and but I do think that's part of our sport, right? And it's a little bit different in college because you can fight, I guess, but you got to sit out a game, and so it's really not part of the game. And I understand too that it's a series, right? So you get a chance to play guys again, and but yeah, I mean, I think our guys have done a good job of remaining calm and but also sticking up for themselves. Good. Thanks.
Thank you.
Much shooter.